Now, Bieber has been amping up his bad boy behavior for a while. He arrived in Miami on Monday. Reports claim he blew $75,000 in $1 bills at a Miami strip club just a few days ago. The club even posted this video to Instagram. We're delighted to have Dr. Drew with us. Dr. Drew, Justin Bieber is very talented. He's also young, insanely rich, insanely famous with 49 million Twitter followers. He makes $58 million a year. Has he just developed a God complex?
Well, it's hard to know the full impact psychologically of a kid that's been raised in this kind of environment. And there's no doubt that giving a young man that's not fully developed, not an adult yet, unlimited amounts of resources and power is not going to be a good recipe. But my fear, Jane, is that we're seeing something more serious going on here. This recent DUI, alcohol, weed, and prescription medications in the car. I'm gravely concerned that the scissor that he was using is just the first in the series of observations of him using opiates. I'm interested to know what those prescription meds are, and if it is opiates, I think we're seeing a very, very serious addictive process unfolding here.
Well, as you know, I'm a recovering alcoholic with 18 years of sobriety. Knock on wood, I'll get to 19 by April. But I am a recovering alcoholic. I don't really understand what happens when you mix pot and alcohol and prescription meds. That's got to turbocharge your problems.
Right. It does. It turbocharges. And really the most addictive substances tend to supersede the other and take over. In this case, the painkillers, the opiates like Vicodin, Oxycontin, Percocet are the ones, and we know he's using codeine with the syrup. That's the one that will emerge as the drug of choice, inevitably. The problem is opiate addiction is heroin addiction, effectively. It's the same thing, and it requires long-term treatment. The problem with somebody like Justin, and it's a problem I've encountered with so many of my working celebrity patients, is they make lots of money for lots of people. They love their work, and they aren't willing to take the time away from their work to focus on their treatment, which often, again, in the case of opiates, if that's what we're talking about here, can easily take 3 to 6 months. If you remember Robert Downey's story, he had to relapse and relapse, return to work, relapse, till he finally took the time, and it was years necessary to get a solid recovery together, and then he has a glorious career that follows. But if you continue to keep putting the career first, and by the way, I have also a fear that he's going to keep the career going by getting some sort of a Conrad Murray-like caretaker to kind of watch after him, and we know where those sorts of things go. Those are special treatments. Special treatments end up in disaster. He needs standard excellent treatment, which means in a program.
Well, I've always said there's only 2 ways to go: rehab or 12-step program that you go to, every day or every week, day in and day out. And those are the only things that work. There's no magic bullet. But when he's 19 and he wants to party, how do they get a grip on this? Do his managers do an intervention, like a classic intervention?
I think it's not a classic intervention so much as people who have some leverage and control over them step in and say, we're canceling all the dates, we're taking care of this. They won't, though. It doesn't happen like that. And as you know, Jane, for people to want to get well, they have to hit a moment of clarity. And sometimes it's the loss of freedom, which didn't happen in this case. He just got a little slap on the wrist. Sometimes it's for women, particularly losing your children. And for many people, it's nearly losing their life. When they're young like this and they feel entitled, they feel in control, they don't feel like it's out of control, they feel as though partying is just something that is expected of someone their age, it is very difficult to engage them in treatment. And again, on top of that, you add the money, the power, the preoccupations with work that he's making money for so many people, and the sycophants that surround someone like this who aren't willing to risk their access to that individual and step up and say, you need to do something.